Hello, everybody. I'm going to give it a couple minutes while people are joining. Let me manage participants, chat. It's still converting the video from last time. All right, look at all this. Woohoo! Our first online video lecture. Okay, so I'm going to give it a minute or two as people are joining. And then just so you know, today's lecture, I'm going to just go through some of the stuff with online, how we're going to be doing quizzes, homework, things like that. Talk a little bit about Zoom and some of the resources I have available for you. And then just do a little bit of chapter 9 to start with. But I want to make sure everybody's clear on just how the course is going to be run, because it's looking like, I think I mentioned before, we're not going to be going back until the fall. So right now they pushed it until May 5th, and then they're going to reevaluate. Summer classes have already been moved online, but it's looking like we're not going to go back this semester. And so this is the new normal. All right, what do we got here? We got, ooh, 27 people, outstanding. So I'm just waiting for this other video to finish converting. I don't know if trying to run a video and convert the old one at the same time. Oh, and so I got this. Wow, look at all this. We got it too. Hello. Okay, so while we're doing this, a couple things. Can I share my screen? Let me see. Can I share? Launch meeting, converting meeting, Seaboard Dash, what is that? Let me see. That's not what I want to share. Stop share.
Are we still in chapter 8?
No, I finished chapter 8 in terms of just the lecture that I'm going to be doing. So I've moved on to chapter 9. Okay, so a couple things just let me just see one more thing. I want to see if I can share this screen. Types of energy, converting the meeting, launch Zoom meeting, whiteboard work. No. Okay. So just a couple things in terms of Zoom. Most people should have, I think everybody, near where it says participants. Oh, maybe I'll annotate this later. We'll see. Participants, you should have a little button that says raise your hand. So if anybody has a question, you can raise your hand. And if I have time to stop, I'll stop and try and address it. But my goal is during the lectures, it's more sort of me giving you some information. And then I'm always going to try and have office hours right after the lecture so that I can answer any questions. A couple other things up in the top right corner, you should have something that says either gallery view or speaker view. So in gallery view, you can basically see everybody at the same time, and whoever is speaking is just highlighted. And if you click speaker view, then basically whoever is speaking is sort of, their screen is big, and everyone else is sort of smaller. So just to check that out, you have a couple different views. And then you have these little buttons that over on the right that says yes, no, go slower, go faster. I may use those to poll people. I'm not quite sure yet. So, okay. So what I'm going to do is share a screen with you and then see how that works. So share screen, go to physics homepage, share. Okay. So hopefully now everybody can see the physics homepage. Let me maximize that. And let's see if I can annotate. 1 second, where's my pencil? Oh, something happened here. All right. Oh, here it is. Okay. Let me annotate clear. Why clear all drawings? Okay. One, I've updated your schedule. I'm going to sort of try and keep this updated just in terms of things are in flux. And so I'll try and keep this updated probably just 2 weeks out. because I want to see how much I get covered before I do new lectures. And then mouse, clear all drawings. So a couple people give me a thumbs up. Can everyone see that I'm on my Physics 4A online resources page? Somebody give me a yes or a thumbs up or yes. All right. So a few things. Hopefully by now everybody has created a site on Mastering Physics. Let me make this draw again. So yeah, Pearson.com mastering. I've had a few people tell me that they had issues creating an account, or once they created an account, they haven't been able to get back to it. I sent out an email addressing that. Basically, it depends on where you're getting redirected to. I've had I'm sorry, question?
How is the homework going to be graded?
The homework is still just going to be graded on completeness. So if you try all the problems, you get 10 out of 10. If you do half of them, you get 5 out of 10. For the most part, I'm going to try and keep everything the same. So even though the homework is graded online, I'm not going to use those grades. Just as long as you're attempting everything, everybody will get 10 out of 10. So in terms of registering, here are the student registration instructions. Most people have already registered and seem to be doing okay. A couple other things on this. So if you ever want to just get to my Zoom room, you can just click on this link and then that should automatically take it to you. This is my YouTube channel. So this is actually just the Physics 4A playlist. So any videos, any lectures, any office hours, I will upload there. I uploaded to my personal website a really nice PDF version of the textbook. You also have access to it online through Pearson.com, the Mastering Physics, but that is a nice resource. Let me mouse this, clear all drawings. So in terms of lectures, so I will be doing lectures using Zoom and then probably supplementing it every once in a while, just creating my own videos. But what I have over here, the draw, are the lecture notes from a year ago when I gave this exact same thing. I had a student taking lecture notes and then I gave them out to another student who had accommodations. And so the lecture notes are really well done. She did them in color, did a great job. I will upload those lecture notes for every single chapter. And then any online lectures, these are posted to individual YouTube videos. And so anytime I'm doing a lecture, I will post a link right here. And then in terms of office hours, if I have office hours where people show up and they're asking questions, I will post the Zoom session to YouTube and then post a link here. So I did go through a few things. I had office hours right before this, and actually I answered one of your quiz questions. So if you haven't taken the quiz yet, watch that and you'll have some information. So let me clear all this. Again, clear all drawings. Oh, so let me just, while I have this up, I want to just show you this ExpertTA video series. Oop, that's not what, hold on one second. Stop share. ExpertTA video series. Sorry. Boop. Share screen. We'll try this one more time. Okay, so this link right here, the ExpertTA video series. Annotate. This is the link to basically create a free account. Once you've created a free account, then, let me stop. Okay, so once you create a free account, then you can just log into the ExpertTA.com. and what you'll see are two collections of videos. So most of the videos for this are going to be in Physics 1. And so these videos, you know, some of them are well done, some of them are not as great, but overall, it's a really good sort of resource. I highly recommend that you watch these videos before I start lecturing on the material. So let me annotate this again. Draw. So like chapter 9 that we're covering is all about work and kinetic energy. So these videos are all pretty much applicable to everything we're doing in chapter 9. And then chapter 10 is all about potential energy, conservation of energy. These videos are all applicable. So I'm going to try and keep the Zoom online lectures to about 45 minutes. I think sitting in front of a computer for 90 minutes is going to be challenging. Christopher, question.
Yeah, how do you derive the equation for kinetic energy?
How do I, oh, so I'm going to go through and do that. I don't know if I'm going to do that today, but actually, I'm going to get to that later. And one of the things too is I may skip some derivations that are done in the book or that are derived other places just because I want to focus on the most important material. But I can definitely go through that once I get into looking at work. So it's kind of cool. It just comes from Newton's second law, the sum of the forces equals ma. So I'll get back to that once I start looking at chapter 9 content in more detail. And then, so just so you know, for each of these, let me do mouse. So if I were to go to, let's say, work, let me clear all drawings. Can everybody see the video?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So one, you play these.
Today I want to cover work. So
And
work
these are
in physics dotted with the displacement.
videos. What I wanted to mention is that sometimes the notation that they are using is slightly different than the notation that we are using. And so when we're using displacement, we're going to be using delta R. And I just mentioned that because every book has slightly different notation for energy, for work, for displacement, things like that. Don't get caught up in the fact that these videos use a slightly different notation. You're sort of just trying to get the big picture out of all of this. So going back to, how do I can't. I need to go back to the mouse. Okay, let me stop this share. So what I want to talk a little bit about is go to the CourseHome for your Mastering Physics and then just show you some information about that. So let me pull up this sharing screen again. Whiteboard, CourseHome. Okay, so in your CourseHome, you'll see sort of when you log in assignments that are upcoming. So I have these reading assignments. So one, these are just designed to keep you on track to make sure that you're not falling behind. I'm not including them as part of your homework grade or anything like that. It's just going to make sure that you're staying up with the material. So like if you go to a particular reading assignment, let's say chapter 8. So one, you can just click on a particular section and it will open up that part of the textbook, which is really nice. If it does do that, So it's just making sure that you are keeping up with the material and reading the text. Let me go back to CourseHome. Can everybody still see this, this shared window, the CourseHome? Somebody give me a thumbs up. More.
It's there.
That there, chat. Okay, excellent. So going back to CourseHome. So these reading assignments are just there to make sure that you're staying on top of the material. So the first thing that you have due is basically tomorrow. One is this introduction to mastering physics. This will count as a homework assignment, and it's just making sure that you can input your answers into mastering physics. Fairly straightforward. The first homework assignment, chapter 8, is also due tomorrow. So one thing about these is that the software randomizes the input variables. Meaning, let's say I go to problem 818. A car drives over the top of a hill that has a radius of 50 meters. If you go to do your online homework, it may give you a different radius other than 50 meters. Or let's go back to a different one, 835. So a motorcycle daredevil plans to ride up a 2-meter high, 20-degree ramp, sail across a 10-meter wide pool. I thought those might be the same numbers. Anyway, in a lot of these, it will be randomizing the input variables, and so they may be slightly different than the actual numbers that the book gives, which means when you're doing the homework from the book, you want to solve everything algebraically first, then go to Mastering Physics, and then just input whatever numbers they give you. Let me just pause. Questions about that, because that's sort of an interesting new thing. And so the homework problems that I assigned are still the homework problems that you're doing, but the problem numbers like the radius or the tension or the speed or the angle may be tweaked slightly in Mastering Physics, which means you have to solve it algebraically first, then go to Mastering Physics and use the actual numbers that they're plugging in. Other thing, just let me mention, is for the quizzes, the input variables will also be randomized, and so no two people are going to have exactly the same problem in terms of the numbers that they're given. So let me just stop this share for 1 second and just see if there's any questions I can answer about that particular aspect of the course. So we are going to be using Mastering Physics for the online homework. I am still going to grade it on completeness. Robert.
Are we going to be getting the assignments from the book and then looking at Mastering Physics, or can we just get the assignment from Mastering Physics?
Oh, you can just get the assignment from Mastering Physics too. So I'm just assuming that a lot of people had already printed them out or things like that. So everything on your homework page in terms of the problems, those are all going to be the same. Every once in a while, I might remove a problem because there's still some weirdness. Some of the problems changed and they didn't change it in the new edition. And so if you see a homework problem I assigned that's not on Mastering Physics, don't worry about it. Other questions before I move on? Omar.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, so the homework problems, like, we're not gonna have the same homework problems as other people in the class, right?
The problems will be exactly the same, but for the one problem with a car going over a hill of radius 50 meters, you might have a radius is 52 meters. Somebody else might have the radius is 48 meters. It randomizes the input variables. So every problem is exactly the same, but your radius might be slightly different than somebody else's. But I mean, the problems are exactly the same. It's just slightly different angles or tensions or speeds or radiuses or radii, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, all the problems are the same, but slightly different input variables. Do that, lower hand. Any other questions just on the homework stuff? If not, I'm going to go back to sharing that screen and look at some more things. Soraya.
Yeah, I mean, Laura typed a question in the chat box if you didn't see it.
Oh, so the Mastering Physics problems are more or less the same as the textbook ones, right? And you mentioned uploading PDF photos. Is that in addition to the Mastering Physics stuff? And so the Mastering Physics problems are exactly the same as the homework problems, and I will list them in the exact same order. In terms of uploading PDFs and photos, I'm going to talk about that in a second. I tried to get it so that we didn't do PLCs anymore, because I was just thinking in terms of, you know, you're supposed to drop into the STEM Center and do 50 minutes a week. You still have to do that. And I will probably cut down on some of the PLCs so they're not as long, maybe get rid of some of the Phizlets, but you still have to do the PLCs. You still have to do 3 hours of lab every week, but you'll see the lab videos I make are probably only going to be like 15 minutes. My goal is that on Wednesdays, you can watch the video, complete everything in less than 3 hours. Christopher.
Wait, so do we still, weren't we supposed to have a formal lab report for the lab that got canceled? So
Yeah, for lab 7, which is the flying pigs, one, I'll show you, I uploaded the video of the lab. I'm going to do another video actually later on today with just some hints on the analysis, but we're not going to do any more formal lab reports this semester. So all of the labs are going to be cut down in terms of content. I'm going to focus on 1 or 2 major concepts. And then for each informal lab in the video, I'll tell you exactly what you're turning in. So like for this one on flying pigs, it's really just making a couple measurements from the video and doing a couple calculations, drawing a free body diagram. The analysis shouldn't take you very long at all. But the video or the labs and the PLCs will be uploaded to Mastering Physics, and I'll show you in a second how that's going to be done. Any more questions on Mastering Physics, the homework part of that? No, let me check on the other room.
Alright, so it's in the oven. Might be a little bit hard now. That'll be just extra credit. I bet if you put it to fry with the egg, it'll soften up.
Oh, Kendra, are you asking me a question?
No.
Oh, oh, you're.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah,
Sorry.
So one, I'm not gonna mute everybody, but yeah, if you're not asking a particular question, make sure your microphone's muted or we will hear what's going on in the background. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to, let me minimize this. Oh, okay. Okay, go back to CourseHome. All right, so I'm going to share this screen again, looking at CourseHome, share. Okay, so in terms of the quizzes, so one, I'm in a student view. I registered under a different account just so I could see everything that the students are seeing. And I already, well, was toying around with the chapter 8 quiz. I just was trying to play around, and so I didn't actually complete them all in the 1-hour time limit. But these quizzes are open notes, open book. Sometimes they'll give you links to hints and things like that. The only thing you can't do is do an internet search for the answer or anything like that. So give yourself 60 minutes. And what I still would recommend doing is creating a cheat sheet so you're not using your 60 minutes looking up all these different equations and things like that. And like I said, it's generally going to be 10 points still, probably 2 or 3 multiple choice questions that are short answer, or not short answer, that are conceptual, and then a couple easier problems that, again, it's still gonna be multiple choice, but yeah, I don't have any way of giving partial credits. Questions, hands up, Robert. Or Christopher, you got a question?
How does extended time work on this?
So that's the other thing is I can individually give students that have special accommodations extra time. I will do that today for the people that I have their accommodations form. If you have special accommodations, please send me an email just to double check that I have given you extra time. Thanks for asking that question. So another one, like if I look at this problem 824, enhanced with video solution. So this is a quiz problem, but you have little hints here. You can open this up. And I don't know that you're actually seeing this, but it's opening up a window that has a little video tutoring. And so a lot of these problems may have hints to help you out. Okay, a couple other things I want to show you. So in terms of document sharing. So one, can everybody see the document sharing? Somebody give me a yes.
Yes.
Okay, and so for the, and let me annotate this, annotate. So for each lab, I created basically a section of the document sharing to turn in PLCs, and then a section of the document sharing to turn in labs. So like if you are in, I'll get you a question in 1 second. If you are in, let's say, the 8 a.m. lab and you want to turn in your PLCs, you're going to click the 8 a.m. lab, and then you're going to click upload document, and then you're going to be able to choose a file. And then once you choose a file, then you can upload the document. Robert, question.
No, I don't know why. I haven't raised my hand.
Okay. Jordan, question. Nope. Christopher, question. Oh, Jordan.
So for the quizzes,
Yes.
is there any way to get credit for like doing the work or anything, or is it solely on correctness?
Right now, there's no way that I can use this software and give credit for the work. So to try and ease that issue, the problems will be shorter problems, more straightforward, and there'll be 2 or 3 shorter problems that you have an entire hour to do. But no,
would
there's
just
no way.
be graded on the answer?
Unfortunately, yes. So I don't know. I've tried to figure out how I could do online quizzes where I'm somehow doing partial credit, and I haven't figured that out yet. So right now we're going to stick with this. I'm still looking into options, but I don't see any easy way of doing online quizzes where I can get partial credit. But like I said, to make up for that, the problems that I assign for quizzes will be more straightforward, less work intensive. Who else we got? Jordan, Christopher, you got another question? Or Soraya?
Yeah. So are all of the normal PLCs still due on the so like all of the PLCs that we were scheduled to do need to be submitted in that document sharing tab, or?
Yes.
Okay.
And then same thing with the labs. So if you wanted to submit a lab, and let's say you're in the 11:15 lab, you'd click on labs, upload a document.
So
And a couple things too, when you upload a document, please just share the file with me only. And that way I can see it, not everyone else can see it. And then you'll basically choose your file and upload the document. What I ask for uploading documents in terms of PLCs or labs is, if you can, please convert it to PDF. If not, just take a picture of it and you can upload the images, but just make sure the images are easy to read, because I'm going to end up grading right from the computer. Like, I'm not going to print out 72 PLCs every week, 72 labs every week. And so for the most part, most of these are going to be graded on completeness. The PLCs will be graded for completeness. The labs, I'll sort of grade like the informal ones where I'm looking for specific things, but the labs are really going to be cut down in scope. Jordan. Question?
No.
Lower hand. Soraya, do you have a question?
Yes, I do. I just wanted to know, is there a specific way that you would like us to name the documents to keep them organized?
Ooh, that is a good question. There is. I haven't thought about that yet. So let me look. I uploaded something as a test, I think, in PLC. So I just uploaded something where you can see here. I don't know. Oh, maybe you can't see it. It says test from Joe. Oh, no, you can't see it. So I would say I can see the owner, so I can see your name because it lists next to the document the owner's name. So you don't need to put your name. I would just say, please label it logically, like lab 6, page 1, if you have multiple pages, or lab 7, page 2, or image from this or that. Just make sure that I can find it. And I may change that as we get more into it and I'm starting to grade these online. But yeah, I would just say try and do it logically. So PLC 8, PLC number 9, page 1, something like that. All right, let's see who chats. Pulling up the chat. Adobe Scan is pretty good. So some people are recommending, can anyone recommend a good app for scanning documents? So Somebody has Genius Scan is good. Adobe Scan is pretty good. You can use a free version to download a PDF to your device. So yeah, if people know of great resources, please send them to me, and then I will pass those along to other people. Okay, so again, just to touch on this, annotate, draw. So again, anytime you're turning in PLCs, you're just going to click on the appropriate tab under document sharing. Just name it something like PDF 7, PDF 8. If you can convert it to, I'm sorry, PLC 7, PLC 8. If you can, convert it to a PDF. If not, take a picture of it and just upload the picture. And then labs will be right here. Christian, was that another question?
Yeah. Yeah, I was just wondering if we got the PLC, like if we got feedback on the PLCs.
What I'm going to do is I will post the PLC solutions after they are due, so you can go back and look at the PLCs yourself. For the most part, the PLCs, like I said, once you upload them, I'm just going to scan through each one, and if you answered everything, pretty much get full credit. So I'm not going to try and give partial credit for the PLCs. The labs, I'll be specific for each lab about what to turn in. So next Wednesday, labs 5, 6, and 7 are due. And let me just say one thing about if I go back to CourseHome. These assignment due dates, these are the last time that you can take the quiz or upload the homework. Please don't wait until that time. So like quiz is due Wednesday by 11:59 p.m. That's just the last time and you can submit it. You can do it at any point. Wow, I'm supposed to go until 12. All right, a couple other things I want to make sure we're clear on. So one, if you go to the study area, if you launch the study area, it's going to give you for each chapter, like for now we're starting chapter 9. If I go to chapter 9 go, it'll give me all of the study tools that you have. So there's some video tutor demonstrations, there's some PhET simulations. You also have access to the textbook, which is really nice. Why can't I do this? Go back to study area. And then eText. There's a really nice version of this textbook that is electronic. It is hyperlinked together. You can look at the pictures and sort of make them bigger. So if you click on just the textbook, it brings you to whatever chapter you were looking at before. If I want to go to a different chapter, like chapter 9, come over here. I can go to a specific section. You can go to the homework problems and things like that. So really nice version of the textbook. And then one other thing, let's go back to CourseHome. One other thing you have is these dynamic study modules, which is really nice over here in this corner. So when you click on them, it'll open up a, come on. Oh, again, I'm sorry. I don't think you can see it when I open up a new window, but it's going to open up a window with just some study modules that is going to help you just sort of work on the conceptual understanding of the material.
Hey, Joe.
Question, go ahead.
Yeah, I think if you want to share the new tab, just go to the share screen, and then it'll give you like an option of like different screens that you can share.
So let me try
Like
that. So I'm opening, I just clicked on study modules. And now if I go to new share, dynamic study modules, share. Can everyone now see the dynamic study modules?
Yeah.
Oh, good. So like now we're doing work and energy. So if I click on work and energy, this is a little 40-minute module that's got some, and again, maybe that didn't, let's see if I open that up. Share. So like in this case, there's a multiple choice question. You can click continue. And if you submit it, it'll tell you, hey, you just completed the first one, and then you can go on. So this is another just nice resource. One of the reasons I was trying to get this access is just because there's a lot of great resources available to students. Oh, screen has just stopped as the shared window is closed. Okay. So let me just, Genius Scan, Adobe Scan, I have to, yes. Speaker view, we go back up to that. No, gallery view. Okay, so that's, let me think, is there anything else I want to share about the course, Expert TA? Well, let me just open it up for questions just about the e-course or anything like that.
I have a question.
Yes.
So right before they closed down campus, I finished my PLC number 8 and I got it checked off. Do you still want a picture of the paper?
For those, there are about 5 or 6 people that got the PLC done before campus closed. That's fine for that PLC. So no, you get rewarded for getting it done early.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Any other questions? If not, I want to do a quick little recap of just, I started chapter 9 on scalar product, and I want to just talk about that a little bit if there's no questions on anything about moving this course online.
I had a question.
Okay, go, Robert.
You just to confirm, you said that we do have to physically go into the PLC to.
Oh, no. Campus is closed.
Oh.
So yeah,
Okay.
just so you know, nobody is allowed on campus after 5 p.m. today. Like absolutely no one. And
Okay.
so all the instructors basically had until 5 o'clock today to go get plants and anything that they need because we're not going to be on campus for another 3 or 4 months.
Okay.
So
Good
I
thing
went, just so you
clarified.
know, I went to grab a bunch of wireless carts and yeah, it's going to be interesting, the online labs.
Okay. Thank you.
And actually, let me just show you one thing in terms of the, well, I'll send out an email later today, but I filmed the online lab for the flying pigs. It's already posted to my YouTube playlist for 4A, but I will add the link. And it's basically going to be, I recommend you doing it on Wednesday. The video is only 10 minutes long. The data taking, you're just looking at the video and you're estimating 3 things: the length of the string, the radius of the orbit, and the period. And then from that, you're doing a couple simple calculations. So I'll send out an email specific about that, but the lab is posted. Once I'm done with office hours today, I'm gonna make another 10 little minute introduction video that I'll send out. And I have another question for anybody who has watched the videos that I made from camp. I'm trying to decide whether these Zoom lectures are going to be more beneficial than me creating my own videos. I think so, because I like still having everybody meeting together. But just so you know, I'm still I'm still figuring all of this out, as is everybody. I don't know if you know how hard it is to do an online course, but you know, we basically had to move to an online format in a week. It's been fun. So, any other questions before I do a little review of dot product, scalar product? It's easier to watch the live lectures. YouTube was good, but I prefer Zoom. I think Zoom is good too, because you know, that little video I created, I think was, anyway, I could spend 5 hours making a 30-minute video just because I'm a perfectionist and I want to get everything looking good and getting little things pointed here and there and annotating it and stuff. So what I think I'm going to do is every once in a while, if I'm behind or if students have really good questions, I may just make a video and then upload that. And I'll probably try and do that maybe once every week or 2, especially because I'm going to keep the lectures to about 45 minutes. Okay, so what I do is just do a quick little 5-minute recap. And then what I'm going to do, like I did before, is I'm going to stop this Zoom call, restart another one that's just specific to office hours, so that the videos that I post to YouTube are not 1+ hours long. That's just too long to have a video. So let me see what I want to share here. Scalar products. Scalar product, energy overview, types of energy. Now let's do file, open. Let's try lecture notes. Okay, let's try this. Zoom, share screen, lecture notes, share. Okay, so I'm generally going to try and not just lecture from the notes that I have already uploaded, but every once in a while doing a little recap. I think that's going to be the easiest way. So you can multiply vectors together in one of two ways. The end result is either another vector, and that's the cross product, and we're not going to do that until chapter 12, or the dot product or scalar product. Can we really do this? Oh, without the recap. Stay there. All right, off with the, I'm working at home and trying to stay positive hat, on with the recap. All right. So, two ways of multiplying vectors together, either the vector product or cross product. We're not going to do that until chapter 12, or the dot product or the scalar product. So this right here is the definition of the dot product. Let me make this bigger. Draw that format. Let's do this in blue. So this is the definition of the dot product of two vectors. It's simply this. It's the magnitude of one vector times the magnitude of the second vector times the cosine of the angle between the two vectors. In these notes, I was using theta for the angle between two vectors. Your book uses alpha. It doesn't really matter, it's the same thing. So if I have, whoa, what am I doing here? Why can't I scan through? Oh, I gotta clear this, clear all drawings. So in this case, let's say a simple example. If I have two vectors, A and B, I hate that I have to keep going back and forth with this. A, let's say, has a magnitude of 10 meters. B has a magnitude of 6.5 meters, and the angle between the two is 35 degrees. Simple. Dot product is just the magnitude of A, 10 meters, times the magnitude of B, 6.5 meters, times the cosine of the angle between the two. This is how the dot product of any two vectors is defined. Now, conceptually, what is it? Well, B, if I look over here, for this simple case, B cosine theta is this part of B right here. It's basically how much of vector B points in the direction of vector A. And so that is how the dot product is defined. Magnitude of one vector times the magnitude of the second vector times the cosine of the angle between it. From that definition, what you can show is that any unit vector dotted with itself gives me a value of 1. Why is that? The magnitude of any unit vector is 1. The angle between a unit vector and itself is 0. So what I'm doing is basically 1 times the cosine of 0. The dot product of any unit vector with a different unit vector, I dot j, j dot k, and so on, is 0 because the angle between the two vectors is 90 degrees. Cosine of 90 is 0. So the other thing, and I'm not going to go through all of this. Let me mouse it. Why can't I? There we go. Which you can show is that since each unit vector dotted with itself gives me 1, and each unit vector dotted with another unit vector gives me 0, if I have two vectors in ijk notation, so vector A, axi plus ayj plus azk, vector B, bxi plus byj plus bzk, if I multiply those out, I actually get 9 terms. Of those 9 terms, only 3 of which survive. The end result is a second way of getting the dot product between two vectors is the x component of A times the x component of B plus the y component of A times the y component of B plus the z component of A times the z component of B. And let me get back to this mouse. Bam. And, oh, come on, why can't I do this? Clear all drawings. So what I did here is just one little quick thing showing that these give you the exact same answer. So for example, here are two vectors. Vector A, 10 meters long. Vector B, 8.5 meters long. Vector A is at a 35-degree angle. Vector B is at a 75-degree angle. So if I just do the magnitude of A times the magnitude of B times the cosine of the angle between the two, the angle between the two is 75 minus 35, so there's a 40-degree angle between the two. So magnitude of A, 10 meters, magnitude of B, 8.5, cosine of the angle between them, 40 degrees, which you get is 65.1 meters squared. These are just displacement vectors. Now, if I have the x and y components, so here, I could figure out just using trigonometry that the x component of A is 8.19 meters, the y component 5.74. For B, the x component is 2.2 meters, the y component is 8.21 meters. And again, the second way of getting the the dot product is multiply the x components together, add the y components multiplied together, add the z components multiplied together. So ax times bx plus ay times by, I get the exact same answer. So the reason why we care, and I'll pick up with this tomorrow, is because of the concept of work, which is basically how you add or subtract energy to a system, is defined as the dot product of the force dotted into the displacement delta r. Okay, let me stop this share. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this meeting right now. I'm just going to pause for 2 minutes, let you guys do whatever you need to do, and then I'm going to restart it again, and it's just going to be specifically for office hours for the next half hour. I'm going to answer any questions dealing with moving this course online, with the beginning of chapter 9, with the end of chapter 8, and so on. So I'm going to stop this meeting. I'm going to restart it in about 3 or 4 minutes. So I will see you all soon.